Hello, Koha community. This is Rudy Hinojosa with lightwavelibrary.com. And I am here to show a demonstration on the use of make.com's ability to intercept email requests from the Koha system to be processed separately from all the other features that come with it. I've seen a number of discussions where SMTP presents a certain difficulty um, being configured properly, and you're always left with the thought of, did I configure this correctly? Do I have any vulnerabilities going on? And so I created this process to kind of alleviate a little bit of tension in that area. So what I'm going to do is demonstrate the webhook option, which I talked about briefly in some screenshots and discussions on the town square on the Koha Mattermost community. So what I'm going to do here is that you can see I'm signed into make.com, and I'm using it already quite a bit actually for my organization. And this is just an example of what the dashboard looks like. I do have a paid subscription. It's like $11 a month, but with it, you get 10,000 operations. And as you can see, I'm certainly underutilizing it, but sometimes it spikes depending on the activity of my other processes, which are called scenarios. An operation is the number of step operations that occur inside one of these scenarios, and that's how they process and bill you for it. I've never exceeded it. I've never even come close to that. So it's very possible, depending on your usage, that you might even be able to get away with. I believe they have a free version that gives you 2,000 monthly operations for free. And you can certainly dabble in it and just check it out. But I highly recommend checking them out. They were formerly known as Integromat.com, and I think they've kind of rebranded themselves. It's very familiar look and feel to Zapier. I think that was another service, and I think there's a few others out there. I prefer make.com. In my opinion, I think it's got the best interface and workflow, easy to understand, easy to customize. And they're integrating a lot of AI as well into being able to help you set up scenarios. So having said that, I'm going to switch over to scenarios and create a new scenario so we can kind of walk through how to set up a webhook and how to get going with the email. So it's basically using something called apps, which I call drop-ins because you're dropping it on your scenario. So this is a new scenario. I'm going to grab the webhooks. I'm just going to click on webhook, and I'm going to say I want an instant. So a custom webhook will be an instant trigger. And once it receives data, it'll process from there. You're going to get asked a few questions like choose a hook. So I don't want to use an existing hook for this demonstration. So I'm going to create a new one. So let's start from scratch. And I'm going to give it a name. I'm going to call it Koha Catcher webhook, just for example. And you can get into IP restrictions later if you want to limit who will receive the instructions for this. Right now, I just leave it open. And then you click on save. And right off the bat, it's listening. It's ready to go. And it's going to give you a permanent webhook URL that you can use. So I'm just going to click on copy address to clipboard. Now, what's it listening for? It's listening for a trigger, a webhook to call that, and it's also going to determine the data structure you're passing to it so it can be used by other apps once you receive it. So I've got the address copied, and I'm going to recommend Postman. Postman is a free utility out there that lets you grab data and test with APIs. And if you're not familiar with it, I think Windows has a free version too called Nightingale, or yeah, I think it's or something like that. I think it's Nightingale. So I'm going to do a post here on Postman, and then I'm going to click over here on body, and we're going to assign it the body that we talked about um, at the town square in Koha community. And I have a copy of it right here. So this is the structure I'm going to pass to it. So I'm just going to copy and paste this. And it doesn't matter what's in here. This is just an example for it to learn the structure. You can put anything you want in there. And then I'm going to come back and click on raw. And you want to set this to JSON because we're going to pass it JSON. Sorry, I had to start over. I forgot to put a comma here. So make sure you have a comma after your last entry. Well, not at the last entry, but right here I was missing a comma. So I'm going to, I had to create a new hook. So I'm going to slap that in there, click on send, and you come back to your scenario, and it said successfully determined. So then you click on save, and you can drag this over here. And next thing we're going to do is we're going to add another drop in, as you will, email. And so we're going to create an email from this. So sends a new email. Drag it up here, and it'll automatically link. Now I'm going to click on the email envelope here, and I already have, you're going to have to add your own SMTP access to your server. I believe there's a number of options you have on that. Gmail, I believe, is even an option. I have my own SMTP server, so I already added that in here. And the next thing we're going to do is specify what goes in these fields. As you can see, it's looking for a recipient. So I'm going to click on add a recipient. I'm going to click on the field, and these are the items that were passed from the webhook. And as you can see, the webhook is pulsating over there to let you know that that's where the source origin components are coming from. So I'm just going to click on two, and you can see it already fills it in for you, nice and neat. So guess what goes in subject? Subject. And then the content is going to be the body. And then what I do, just to add a little extra flair, you can customize the content. You can put HTML tags in here and say generated by, and then I'm going to put from, because, and I'll explain that here in a minute. One of the reasons I do that is because under advanced settings, you're going to see an option for, and I'm going to close this, scroll down, that you can specify the from field here, but you might run into problems with that because email has become such an intrinsic process. There's a lot of security features like DKIM and a lot of anti cross-origin policies are in place and that kind of thing. So if you start putting values in here that might not agree with the way your SMTP is configured, and that can present a new level of complexity. So what I recommend is putting the from value actually inside the content, towards the end of the content, and leave this blank. So I'm going to add the copy recipient here under the advanced settings, and I think that's all you need to get started. And then you click on save, and you now have a scenario. You can rename this up here to whatever you want. So let's test it. Let's go to, I'm going to do run once, and it's waiting. It's listening. So let's go back to Postman. And let's actually put in something right here. So I'm going to send this to myself. I'm going to leave out a carbon. And I'm going to hit send. We're going to actually run the scenario and test this. So I'm going to send, click here, and wait for it to receive it. So I'm going to click on the magnifying glass to see what we got. So there's the subject data, email content. So we received the JSON body successfully. And now let's look at the email. And we can see that it was assigned properly to the two. We have the content. So now it says email content generated by no reply at Koha Mailer. And it was sent successfully. Now, how do you integrate this? So I skipped over the part in the letters.pm, which I talked about. So I'm going to go ahead and copy the address again to clipboard, which I still think I do have it. But what you want to do is take the code snippet that I provided in the town square at Koha Community. And the only thing you have to modify is this webhook URL variable. So you just want to put in single quotes, your new URL webhook. And replace this code method, which is called send message by email. And you'll want to put these two use statements up at the top with your other use modules that are in the letters PM. And the subroutine, just you can rename your old subroutine underscore send underscore message underscore by underscore email underscore original, and then just copy and paste this new one in, and this will work. Now remember, when you test your email, like what I do in Koha, I go to the patron section and just pull up myself, put in a valid email address on my patron account, and send a welcome message. And then within 10 minutes, depending on what your cron tab is set up to process the message queues, you should be able to watch in real time the webhook get hit and send out an actual email. And so I'm going to go back to my real-time one. This is my real, the Koha emailer I already have set up here. You can look at history and see how many times it's been used, when the last time it was called. So that's kind of a nice thing to see, a little audit trail of what's happening. And then you can click on details and it pulls up the workflow for the time that it was actually fired. And you can click on the magnifying glass to look at the materials that were actually sent in there. And so that's kind of a cool thing. If you have any questions, guys, just drop me a note and I'll help you out. Thanks a lot.